Hello everyone, I'm David01, and this is a retrospective of the Mini Airport. The Mini Airport was one of the most influential series I've made in my channel, and being the 1 year anniversary, down to the minute, of the second episode's release, I feel it was best to look back at the series that sparked the Mini City, and made my channel what it is today. Many staples of my channel, such as the time lapses within the video, in addition to showcasing it at the end, started with the Mini Airport series. A lot of my video editing techniques originated, albeit in a very, very, very rudimentary form, in the Mini Airport. Showing off the intro first, while not exclusive to the Mini Airport series, was definitely something that really took off there with a dedicated intro. Moreover, with my voice. No episodic videos I had made up to this point had my voice in it. The only other one was a very bad Factorio video, which is awful. And these were the first videos to have my voice in a semi-competent manner. And for that, they were okay. I mean, it was a bit rudimentary. I probably could have done a bit more of a competent job of modulating my voice. It was a little high-pitched there. Could probably have applied some audio effects, as I am doing now, to make it sound so nice. But I feel overall, it wasn't that bad. Starting with the beginning, if we look at each episode, though, the title for all of them, the thumbnail, has some work put into it. This really started the trend where I would stage the thumbnails. For the mini city and things, the thumbnails are almost always staged after everything has been filmed. This is so that way I can show off the final product along with some community submissions that have been featured in there, and put everything in a way that exaggerates it slightly, makes it a little more appealing to the viewer. I've learned the lesson the hard way about what is not appealing. Black screen with some small buildings. And I mean, the buildings were large that have been shrunken down to fit multiple. Don't do that. No picture in picture. The Mini Airport, though, was where I started it, and the design for those was very simple but effective. The thumbnails simply were a screenshot of the final product with a slab of text that said Mini Airport or Scrap Mechanic Mini Airport episode whatever, which I did learn don't place those in the lower right corner because, well, those that's where the little timestamp appears. The fun fact, the first episode actually showcases in the thumbnail the air traffic control tower, which was not actually released then. So it shows that I was actually already filming the second episode by the time the first one was up there. However, they were spaced apart by about 2 weeks, which started a not so great trend of about 2 weeks between an episode. When I made the initial airport episode, I wanted to end it with episode 1. I didn't really enjoy the series that much. However, it was looking at the analytics, I saw that 2 people had subscribed after watching that video. And so I felt that I owed it to them to make a sequel. It didn't perform particularly well, even compared to my other videos at the time. But I wanted to make sure it was at least properly represented. I had the same thing with the second episode, and then when disaster struck for episode 3, well, that was a convenient excuse to end it off. Let's talk about the beginning of the first episode. I don't really enjoy that. I mean, we have the weird stock DaVinci Resolve fade-in, blurring fade-in for the David01 Presents, and it starts like it's going to be a movie, but in reality, it's a very odd and lame sequence of, oh no, my plane crashed. Where is my plane? No, my plane! Oh no, the plane, it blew up. And then, oh, hey, this area's flat. This would be a perfect spot to build an airport. Not just a runway, but a terminal complete with like tourist attractions and a help desk. And not to mention airport security stuff in the middle of nowhere. A hangar and an air traffic control tower. Who is supposed to be up there if I am the only person here? Oh, I also built a fuel truck and stuff. So, bit of a stretch as to that, my theming for this. I definitely could have come up with a better story, but yeah, it's not the absolute worst. And then this starts the kind of trend of having a pre-intro before the actual David 001 intro, which got so bad by some of the mini episodes where it would sometimes be more than halfway through the video that the quote unquote intro played, which really was to signify a time lapse starting. This first episode, though, it was actually in a good spot. I love the fact that it still claims that I'm working on a new intro. It wouldn't be until, what was it, episode like 16, 17 of the mini city that I unveiled a new intro that I actually used. I had the wood grain one, I had the yellow letters one, and I even had that Factorio one I never used in the video, but I didn't replace the old fake Pilot Wings intro, which I had made before my channel existed. I didn't replace that for a while. Now, the actual time lapse of the mini airport, I feel it's one of the most important elements because it really solidifies the fact that you are watching me build. It's not just, okay, this is this, and then boom, cut. You have no clue how long it took. Look at my thing I made. You're kind of experiencing the building process with me, which is nice. Although the mini airport, compared to later entries in my channel, is very uninteractive. There were comments, but there was no, oh, what should I build next? There was no, please send in community submissions. It was just, watch me. That's it. However, the time lapses do make them feel very human, which is nice. It really shows the creative process. Also, make sure no one can claim, oh, you stole my thing, because I have video of me building it. You don't. And, I mean, the runway I felt was very weak, but it's just a slab of concrete with paint on it. So, doesn't need to be super complex. The actual terminal, though, started out actually a lot of important building techniques that are now used to this day. The framing on the outside, brick plus, I mean, I had already been using brick plus concrete slab, but this really showed it was very nice looking, and I use that for pretty much all of the mini city buildings. I mean, even the skyscraper I am building now has at its base very similar to what the mini airport looks like, actually, just albeit with no windows. I tried to make now for inspiration for a lot of it though, I tried to go with a lot of like kind of half regional airport and half just a large international airport that had just kind of been crushed down. You can really see that with the glass everywhere, that stained blue. I initially you can see in the video actually, I initially almost stained it gray. That would have been pretty drab. The final building is, comparative to the rest of the mini stuff, actually quite large, but considering this is not just supposed to be some tiny airport, this is supposed to be a decent airline, kind of. It's small. It's a 3x3 building, which is not a size actually used in the mini city at all, but it would place it somewhere between, depending on the dimension you look at, somewhere between the petrochemical plant and the city hall in terms of overall size. So they were large. They wouldn't fit in the mini city well, but they're not supposed to go and be connected directly to a city. They're supposed to be on the outskirts. And for that, they do quite well. They're mini relatively They're not 8 by 5 platforms or something weird like that, but they probably could have been a bit smaller. I was and still am pretty proud of the logic I made for the door, although there was a subsequent revision that was never shown off that actually fixed the issue with the door. Basically, I just had to flip around one thing. There was an extra connection that needed to be added and something that needed to be removed. But the door, I was very proud of the press a button. The door opens for 3 seconds, then automatically shuts. And only one press is needed, and multiple presses doesn't break it. It just makes the door slam open and shut a bunch of times. And I feel like a lot of building techniques, though, did come from this, though. I mean, I talked about the platform and the walls initially, but I mean, you can see some of the things that are evolutions of my old nuclear power plant time lapse that never built a nuclear power plant and only built the like security checkpoint for one. Um, but you can see a lot of things of. You can see how the metal detector and stuff lived on in here, albeit with a slightly more function. The help desk was very overused, even at this point. That help desk, this was at least the third thing to use that help desk. That help desk was ripped out of a bunker I had made. Yeah, it's an odd spot for it, but it's where it came from. The roof, I am actually proud of still. I like the roof. I thought the roof was pretty nice. It's a shame there's nothing more solid for the front and back, but overall, I thought the sloped roof was actually pretty pleasant looking. I mean, you can go inside, it's a little more flat, but that's nice. It also makes it easier to attach stuff to the ceiling. I like the giant skylight I made. I was not concerned. This was one of the first times, though, that I really accepted using regular glass. Before this point, since I hadn't really done building episodes of stuff, before me I had done the time-lapse video, I had mainly played Scrap Mechanic as either single player screwing around or multiplayer screwing around, and fragile glass was a hazard because, someone would always try to break it. And so this was one of the first times for a more recent project that I actually ended up using just large amounts of regular glass. There wasn't any, like, oh no, not glass. I just used it. And I feel like that was a very that really set the direction, because had that been armored glass, it wouldn't have looked nearly as nice. It would have looked all militaristic, and it wouldn't have been a nice, friendly, oh, your flight to paradise, your trip to paradise is only one flight away kind of airport. No, it would have felt like you were in a prison. So, I'm glad about that. I felt that overall, I did a good job with most of the design for especially the main terminal. I thought that's probably the best thing I built for the series. Episode 2, with its many eccentricities, let's just say, the air traffic control tower was not realistic enough. If I were to redo it, I would have given it more detail on the base of it, and I would have gone into it and actually put more detail up at the top instead of just throwing seats with controllers in front of them. It was pretty primitive of me. And I was more advanced than that at that stage. So, not the greatest. I did not make great mini vehicles then. I did not. They were not good. If given the chance, I would definitely redo those, probably. I never got a chance to make anything from that utility vehicle, but actually I did make one thing. That street sweeper from episode 3, but that's too large, actually. I never got a chance to use that base to make the stair truck, or the baggage truck, or the, like conveyor belt. It like loads your baggage up there. It loads baggage and boxes and things. I never got a chance to build those, which is a shame. Uh, the hangar was definitely my favorite thing I built in that episode. I said it in the video. I really enjoyed that hangar. I made a tremendous mistake of leaving my game set to friends of friends and not saving that. I just welded it to the platform and forgot to save it. That mini airport hangar is still partially lost to this day. All I have is the kind of remnants of it. So I can, and since there's the time lapse, I can, if necessary, rebuild it, but it would just take so long. Is it really worth it? Well, yes, and I will actually be rebuilding it if I haven't already done it in post-processing and put the time lapse over my audio. Fun fact, this audio is being recorded separately from any video that's playing in the background right now. This allows me to go and pop stuff up on screen like I just did now. And if I didn't just do it now, then I am a lazy editor and I should be ashamed of myself. Anyway, some other elements of significance in the mini airport series. Well, I mean, one of them is just that it's the mini airport. It started the mini city. I mean, it's the next logical step. You have a mini airport. Well, then it should lead to something. You don't just have two airports to nowhere. There should be a city at one of them. And so that's what I started making. That was the next series. It was, well, it worked. It was very popular, and there was much more variety for me, the things for me to make. Like, the mini airport was running out of stuff to make that wasn't planes, and I discovered very rapidly that the hangar couldn't fit a plane in it, that I couldn't build a plane on that small of a scale that flew, and that there would be some significant problems with this place as an actual airport. So, yeah. I'd say my favorite thing overall with the mini airport was still probably the terminal. It has very interesting style, the way it's built. It's unique. It's gray, but it also has lots of color in it. It's pretty bright inside, even at nighttime, which I liked. It's supposed to be a kind of place that's open 24/7, although be it with less people. It has some fun in there. It has kind of distinct zones. If I were to do it now, I probably would have put more efficient use of space in there. I mean, just kind of having there was a lot of filler stuff in the corners of that. The fuse box area with the baggage, that was just cheap. The bathroom, way too large and weird looking. I would have probably put stuff on top of that now. Even the vending area was nice, but a bit oddly done. The only one I say probably wasn't botched at all was, I'd really have to say probably, I thought that probably my favorite part of that was, I don't know. Actually, I liked the security checkpoint in there. That was a fun part. I liked the exterior a lot for that. The door and the exterior are probably my two favorite parts of that, because the rest of the good stuff in there is just rehashed from other things. But I'm half proud of the mini airport terminal itself. Like, I'm not ashamed to say I built this thing. I know I was really bad, but I'm not ashamed that I'm gonna say that. I do legitimately think it was a decent build for its time from me. I mean, I wasn't that bad then, but yeah. And it did help me improve. You could see my building got a little better by the end. I was going for even more advanced techniques, although I used more ramp pieces than I do now. It's overall, in a way, the mini airport is a very rudimentary mini city. And its influence it's apparent when you look at the actual mini city videos. It's hard to believe that was a full year ago. I mean, if you go and check, how many subscribers do I have then? 20, 30? Analytics, content, audience, advancement. I mean, there's just I don't know. It's a very interesting series, the mini airport. And you may wonder, well, they were never uploaded to the workshop. And I said in one of the videos that when the mini airport is done, I'll upload them. The mini airport was never finished. And that's why one of the reasons I set out to make this video. To right a wrong I had done in the past. So, consider this the end of the mini airport. There will be no more, at least for now. Perhaps in the mini city, there'll be a new airport or something, but for now, this is the end of the airport. And so, when this video is done, you should find all of the parts of it on the workshop. That includes either the rebuilt or just the ruins of the hangar, depending on whichever I did. If I had enough time, I might have made the rebuilt version. Otherwise, it might just be the remnants. I'd say... Now, if you're asking me whether I'd recommend you watch the mini airport, if you've sat through all this and you're still undecided, yes, but skip past lots of parts. They can be relaxing to listen to, sort of, and you can watch them, but they have very little editing in them. There's not that much fun in them. If you haven't seen what the airport looks like, watch the videos if you care. If you don't watch them. You're not missing out on much. They're bland. Even more bland than episode 0 of the mini city. But they have a purpose, and they'll always hold a somewhat special place in my heart. I mean, I can't say I'm super sentimental about them and tear up whenever I look at the mini airport. In fact, I'm still sometimes even a little annoyed and surprised that they got so many views. But at the end of the day, they're an important part of my channel's history, and I'm glad I made them. I don't regret making the mini airport. I regret setting my world to friends of friends. I regret not saving them. But I don't regret making them. I think what matters is that it made people happy. People clearly enjoyed the videos, and at the end of the day, that's what I strive to do. Entertain. It's not about whether the build looks good or whether it got a ton of views. What matters is, did I make someone's day better? Yes? Well, then that was a win for me. I'm David001, and thank you for watching this video. I'm sorry the next mini-city episode hasn't come out, but I have been dragging pretty far behind on that. Making a literal skyscraper that is 64 meters tall, which I know technically doesn't actually define it as a skyscraper, but considering it's on a, 8 by 8 meter base, yeah, it's pretty tall. At least it's a 1 to 8 ratio for height, which is pretty good. It is also very tall. I mean, 20 stories plus, which doesn't sound like much, but in the mini city, considering that it's double the height by just block height of its nearest counterpart, the city hall, to its spire. That's the city hall's spire, the antenna on top. That's not even really functional floor space. And that's halfway up the functional part of this building. I have a lot of office floors to make. This is I'll just tell you right now. This is the headquarters. It's going to be the headquarters for the Mini City Petrochemical Corporation. It's spectacular. It takes forever to build, but I'm really proud of it. And as you can see from the screenshots I'm sharing right now, there's a lot of inspiration drawn from both parts of the mini airport. The framing on the bottom with the brick behind it. There's the interior even. There's a lot of parts of it that really are mini airport, which makes you wonder, who owns the mini airport? And I'll tell you, it is the Mini City Petrochemical Corporation. they own a lot more than you think, which will be a driving factor in some of the upcoming mini-city episodes. But for now, just get excited for the giant building. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video. I'll see you in the next episode, hopefully. Uh, Tell me if you enjoy this kind of content, this more relaxed, with more ambient feel, or if you prefer the more active and running around and shaking camera and everything kind of videos. As always, I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye!